So the next song is New York State of Mind by Billy Joel, which when we sent along the playlist to Tom, he went, "Oh, that's a pretty good list, except for Billy Joel," which is wonderful because I don't even necessarily know if I have a counterpoint for this. I'm just really excited for the point.
Right. All right. Well, I should preface this by saying that I, in general, am not a big fan of Billy Joel.
Sure.
I just don't care for his music. I believe I once said to a friend, and I think that this best exemplifies how I feel about him, that if his songs were to come alive one day, they would commit suicide. Or at least they should. So it's not so much that I dislike him as I have like active vitriolic disdain for everything he does and stands for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song in particular, I really think embodies, not trying to pussyfoot around here, but yeah, really embodies kind of everything I really dislike about him. I sort of mentioned earlier, like songs that seem like they're trying to be New York anthems.
Yeah.
That, second only to maybe Empire State of Mind,
Sure.
The
is I think
Alicia Keys,
yeah,
Jay-Z, okay.
which is maybe the worst offender. And I actually don't mind the Alicia Keys Jay-Z song that much. It just seems like they knew as they were writing it that it was gonna be a New York anthem.
Sure.
That they were just like, it's like writing a Christmas song, It's like, this is gonna be a hit and we're gonna make $1 million from this every time it's played at a Yankees game for the next 40 years.
Right.
Sure.
Well, the Yankees happened to win the World Series that year. It was very fortuitous for them.
Oh, right.
So they were playing it for all the highlights and everything as well.
Oh,
God,
right.
I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh.
2009,
Yeah, that's true.
But
man.
yeah, New York State of Mind, to me, sounds like how non-New Yorkers imagine the elegance of New York.
Right.
It's like ordering a Manhattan at an Applebee's. It's something that, like, on the outside appears classy and elegant, but like is just so suburban. I don't know, and maybe this is just because I can't help viewing everything that Billy Joel does through like the prism of like Long Island New Yorkers. No offense.
No. That's what it is. He's the totem for the entire island.
Yeah.
And like, I don't tend to love Long Island in general, which is actually weird because I actually spent a lot of time on Long Island as a kid, because I had a lot of friends that lived there from like camp and stuff like that. And so I have a lot of good memories hanging out on Long Island.
Yeah.
But like mostly good memories of hanging out with my friends who were just like, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really don't like that song.
Yeah.
Well, what is it like? Is it that he's also just like everything's like big and everything's like feels like theater, or like is it that part of it too? Like it's the vibe of it's like very easy listening, I would say.
Yeah, and it's like he's trying to flex jazz muscles in the songs in that song that like he hasn't earned.
Yeah.
He's not a jazz composer. He doesn't make jazz songs, and he was like, it almost felt when you listen to that song, I can like picture him being like, I'm gonna write a jazz standard about New York because I'm Billy Joel and God damn it I can, and people will accept it. And in that sense he wasn't wrong, because for a lot of people that song is the like embodiment of New York, and maybe who am I to say otherwise? I mean, I'm not a great songwriter, but that song, it feels phony to me. It feels desperate to prove its New Yorkiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's I think that's a great review. I don't
agree.
know that I necessarily have, like, I personally don't have a feeling one way or the other on Billy Joel. He wrote Allentown, which is where I'm from,
Right.
which is a very depressing song and quite accurate to my experience growing up there.
And
like,
that song is a song that seems desperate to prove its Bruce Springsteeniness.
yeah, and he will
if you ask
never
me,
be Bruce Springsteen
that is
because
correct.
there's only one boss.
That is correct.
So.
And I should also say that as a Billy Joel hater, I am also a Bruce Springsteen
Very
lover.
Right.
Although I think that that's a false dichotomy because to compare the two is just a fool's errand. But
Yeah.
I know that people like sort of tend to mention them in the same breath because they both are like blue collar tri-state area name droppers.
Yeah.
But you know, Bruce Springsteen does it with like effortlessly and like with class and you know, poetry and Billy Joel is a hack. So
I feel like I have to say though, on my liked songs on my Spotify playlist, I do have Moving Out, Anthony's song.
Yeah.
Because I really like the way he goes, the heart attack.
You know, there are actually, if I'm being honest, there's like one or two Billy Joel songs that, like, if I hear them, I don't immediately, like, turn them off. And I hate myself when that happens.
Right.
But, like, you know, I don't think he's, like, the worst songwriter ever. It's just so much fun to hate him.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that I think he's, like, the worst songwriter ever. Of course, there's, like, worse songwriters. But, like, he's a good enough songwriter that it matters to hate him.
That's
I guess.
Oh,
I don't know.
that makes sense. Yeah,
I guess
that
that's the
totally makes
best
sense.
possible compliment I will ever be able to give him.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
important to hate him.
I like that. I feel like I need to weigh in, otherwise I won't be let back into Long Island.
Okay. Yes.
So-
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Please.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I met all of Mike's family, they were like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Allentown." And they're like Billy
Oh,
Joel
God, yes.
song. You
Yeah.
must love Billy Joel. And I'm like,
I mean,
I don't really care one way or the other. I know the song you're referencing. It's clearly
Yeah.
you do, but yeah.
they're thick as thieves. They're thick as thieves on the islands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true.
Anybody who's going to give them some love, they'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing about Billy Joel is that, but also to like further expound upon it, you talk about the suburbanness.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really, there's a famous writer that wrote a small book about New York whose name is escaping me right now. It's pretty bad, but I'm gonna crib from him, where he talks about like the three different types of people that exist in New York, and there's the native New Yorker, there, and they each have like different functions with and then there's the person that comes here for, you know, to make it,
Right.
and they have like a vitality about them. And then there's the people that are the commuters, and that they each make a third of the story of the city. And the fact that the tri-state area pours in by the millions every day when it's, you know, not a pandemic,
Right.
and then goes back, and there's that kind of circulatory system to it. And Billy Joel is in many ways the heart of that circulatory
Totally.
system.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons that I thought you know, when I associate this song, I don't know if I've ever put this song on and been like,
Right.
like I've never once. But
As the skyline is coming over the LIE,
yeah,
you know.
but like at the end of Yankee games, they listen to New York, New York because they have class.
Right.
And at the end of Mets games, it's New York State of Mind.
Oh, really? I
Oh,
didn't
it
even know
is?
that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I had
that's
no idea.
honestly, I have no problem with that.
That's so funny.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many Mets fans from Long Island
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're the Long Island Mets.
Yeah, exactly. So there's something about him that I can't listen to a bunch of his songs because they are overly precious or just kind of like I don't even know if they were intended for that audience as they were written, but they've become that,
Yeah.
and so it's difficult to consume them. But as far as like the anthemic song, that's the only thing that's on this list that even comes close to aspiring to that.
Sure.
And it mentions Chinatown, which is where we go next on the walk. So
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
like, you know, but obviously I don't think there's a single person in Chinatown that even associates that song with anything.
Yeah.
It just happens to be what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Totally. And I think that it's worth saying that I think that Billy Joel, I would imagine, I can't really speak with that much authority on like his whole career because I don't like his music, so I haven't really listened to it that much. I've just listened to it enough to have a baseline opinion. But it seems to me like that his music and his storytelling works best when he's operating from that perspective, from the perspective of like a commuter. You know, I mean, his first record is literally called like Cold Spring Harbor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that, to me, I'm like, yes, that's your lane. Stay in that lane. That's you being genuine. You can speak to that experience of being like the guy who from the boring place where, you know, Oz is on the horizon.
Right.
But then I think like then he went to LA and like made a couple albums, and then that's like where he made Piano Man. And then he came back to New York. And I think when he made that transition and like Turnstiles, like that era, that's when he was like, no, I'm a New Yorker. 52nd Street, you know, I'm holding a trumpet.
Right.
I'm doing Big Shot, you know, Fifth Avenue and Dom Perignon in your hand, cocaine. I'm hard. I'm New York. And that's where it completely goes off the rails.
Right.
But like he kind of goes back into that lane a couple of times in his career, and I think when he does that, that's like I still don't like his melodies and stuff, and that's like whatever. You know, I can't really fault somebody for writing melodies I don't like, but at least he's not being a phony in those circumstances.
Nice.